Hi, folks. Welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, it's been a kind of a crazy past week, wouldn't you say? Past couple of weeks for certain, going from all the shootings and to the potential for riots. There were riots in some places, some property destruction, all of the stuff that's led up to the big balloon story that's been in the news for the last few days. It's had a lot of people on edge, but the reality is that the vast majority of Americans really didn't even know what was going on, or that anything was going on. And so many people, even within the prepping community, just kind of, took it as a big silly thing, something to post memes about. Over the last few days, my wife and I have had a few conversations on the people's reaction. We're all armchair quarterbacking what in the world the whole balloon was about. Why were they doing that? Why was this necessary? And why, is it us? Is it someone else? Same way we do all the time with all the other stuff. Is it just a psyop? Is there something else going on? Or are they trying to distract us from something? And the conversation that my wife and I have had is how the people have reacted to all this. And not just all of this, but all of this other stuff that's going on, and how it's all kind of building. We're seeing so much stuff just happen on a constant basis. I mean, I think it's to the point I mentioned last night in our live stream. I think we're seeing some level of kind of adrenal fatigue, that people are they're just physically getting worn out by seeing all this stuff, and the ups and downs, emotional ups and downs, and oh my goodness, it's almost the end. It's gonna happen tomorrow. It's gonna happen tonight. And then it doesn't happen, and it moves on to the next big thing. And we're seeing even people within what I would say our own community, the homestead prepping, conspiracy theory community, that we just kind of take things as a big joke anymore. And I wonder if that's one of the big things that they're trying to do, is trying to desensitize us so much that when these events happen, we don't react, so that when the event happens, or a bigger event happens that really works to take away more of what you and I hold dear, that we don't react to it. Again, the people just kind of, they kind of, oh well, it's very lackadaisical anymore, comical, things are funny. And I want to warn against that, because at some point these events are going to start really affecting us. I mean, they are already. Already these things affect us when we see them in the news, and sometimes they have a more long-term effects than what we realize. I mean, look at the whole chicken thing, the chicken and the egg thing, and how many plants have burned over the last year, and how many chickens have been culled over the last year. And we're seeing the repercussions of that now. We're seeing high prices and availability issues, and most likely it's just going to keep getting worse. And now it's been in the news. I said it just a few days ago. Are they going to go after cattle next? And sure enough, Fox News ran an article about the worry for some devastating cattle disease that would wipe out the American herd is something that's being talked about because of our open borders. They're worried, ranchers are worried that they're going to bring across some kind of disease that will wipe out the cattle herds. Is it going to start with cattle next? Because you all know that they don't want us eating any kind of meat. The fact is, though, is that we just kind of see these things and, we think, well, what can we do? Are we supposed to arm up and go out and fight against it? Are we supposed to march in the streets? What are we supposed to do? And while I don't think that those are always the answer, someday they definitely will be, probably. But we have to take these serious in our own life and not allow ourselves to become complacent, not allow ourselves to become desensitized by the repetitiveness of these events that keep happening. Because they will most likely continue and continue with intensity and repetitiveness and everything, to the point that we don't even know anymore what's really going on and how bad things are getting. I suspect that's how a collapse is going to look for us. And so we have to really guard ourselves against allowing things to not affect us. It doesn't mean that we need to have an emotional reaction to it. It doesn't mean that every time, another balloon pops up that, we're locking down the house and going into our bunkers. It just means that we take notice of it and file that away in our little minds that we know that things are getting more real because here's another event. And to not just, kind of blow it off as, oh well, it's just one more thing happening. How can we do anything about it? There's nothing we can do. So just ignore it and move on with our lives. Because I believe that's what they want us to do. I believe they want us to just ignore these things and just keep watching the football and keep, doing all the other things that we do and not really paying attention to what's going on. I understand it's a fine line. It's a fine line between being aware of our surroundings and aware of what's going on and becoming obsessed with it to the point that we do nothing else and we almost become ineffective because of our obsession over these things. And I get that there is that fine line. But we also need to guard ourselves against just the desensitization, whatever the word is, to becoming desensitized. There we go. Oh, anyways, we'll just keep rolling with it and we won't edit that one out. To become desensitized by all of this, because it's a very easy thing to happen. Like I said, the vast majority of Americans have no clue what's been going on. They don't watch it. And then the ones that are hearing it, they're hearing little bits and pieces and they're just kind of shrugging their shoulders and they're going on about their daily lives. And we know, as prepared-minded people, that things are changing and that they are getting worse and that we're taking daily steps towards, whatever it is that's going to happen next, the big one, whether it's a world war, a global takeover, a collapse of the dollar, and the rise of digital currency, pole shifting. I mean, there's EMP, there's the next biological warfare agent upon us, whatever it is. We know that those things are happening, and we have to prepare for it and not allow ourselves to become so laid back and to the point that we've become lazy about it that we do nothing and then it catches us off guard. This is something that for those of you that served in combat or even that's just trained for combat, that's all too often a problem of to not be so on edge that you lose your sharpness, but yet not to be so complacent and laid back that you miss the fight when it happens. We have to be prepared for this in this way. This is just another level of preparedness, is be paying attention to what's going on, continuing our preparations, continue getting ready for it, noting it and realizing that at any moment, one of these things could be the big one. What if, let's play it out for just a moment. What if this balloon was an EMP? And after the first day of everyone kind of giggling and laughing and posting pictures of it, it gets over, say St. Louis, because it did go over that area, and it goes off. What would you have done? How would you have reacted? Even if not the whole nation was affected, how would you have reacted? Would you felt that you weren't ready, that you saw this coming, you saw this potential for something like this happening, right on your computer screens, your phone screens, and you still did nothing? Should we take each one of these types of instances and use them as a training tool? Okay, we have a balloon up. It's coming over the United States. This could be nuclear, could be biological, could be an EMP, could be all these things. What should we be doing to get ready? And if this was the real one, how should we be reacting to it? Are there certain drills that you should be going through in your home? Revisiting plans, making sure that water supplies are topped off and that magazines are topped off and that things are ready. Do you talk to your family about these things? Do you go over the reality of what would happen if one of these things that we talk about all the time actually happen right before our eyes, so that they're ready also. It doesn't do much good for you to be ready because you watch videos like this all the time, and the rest of your family to be clueless. Bring them on board and get them ready also. Use these things that are happening as training events. I said that for years. I remember back when Venezuela, their dollar was hyperinflating and everything was just falling apart down there. I kept saying, use this as a training opportunity. Watch what's going on. See the reaction of the people. See how it affects them. Pray for them, but see how it affects them, and then use that as a way that you to figure out how you can avoid being caught up in all that mess. And that's what we should be doing with all of these things that are happening, is be aware of them, be alert. It doesn't mean that you have to be so on edge that you tire and fatigue easily and that you go into overload. But certainly don't just ignore them and move on. Because at some point, one of these events, because they are leading us to a certain point, right? I mean, that's, this balloon and the shootings and all the other stuff that's been happening. They are pushing us further down the field. And at some point, when one of these happens, it could be that thing that kind of pushes us over the edge. So we need to be ready and not get in that stage that we're so tense we can't focus, and also to the stage to where we've given up and we've laid back and we've ignored things to where we've completely lost our edge. Keep getting ready, keep stocking up, keep prepping up, and keep training. And keep revisiting your plans of how to react to these things, because they most likely will continue to happen. We've seen this repetitiveness has increased substantially over the last few months of bigger and bigger events that are kind of shaking us to our core. Folks, it's time to keep getting your houses in order, taking it seriously, preparing mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.